Anthropic dropped Claude Opus 4.5 this week, and of course, as always, when a new model comes out, it's claiming to be the best model in the world, and it's topping all of the benchmarks. Now, a bunch of people have already gone deep on the technical stuff and what the model can do, so I'm gonna skip all that, because when a model comes out, I really only care about one thing. Can it make my coding workflow faster and better? So I've been testing Opus in the last few days, and in this video, I'm gonna show you my actual coding workflow with Opus 4.5. So I'll grab a few features from my Komposo backlog, ranging from easier to harder, and we'll see how the model does. Let's jump in. Okay, we're in Komposo here, and the first easy feature I want to implement is that you see the screen here, and you can actually, if you double click, you can actually scroll inside of the screen, but we removed the scroll bar because it just looks nicer without it on the screen. And now it's kind of, for new users, hard to see that you can actually interact with this screen. So I want to add something to change that. And I was thinking to basically just add a little button here in this toolbar to be able to click so that you can interact with the screen. And in the button, it should also say something like you can double click here to interact. Okay, so really easy feature, just front end stuff going on, and should really be quite simple for Opus 4.5 to handle this. So let's switch into Cursor here, and I have Claude Code opened here in the terminal. I've switched back to using Claude Code in the terminal because the widget was not working very well. It was kind of buggy. So I'm just using the terminal version here again. And the first thing I always do is I'll just go into plan mode and just describe what I need. In the node toolbar, which is this toolbar that I showed just now, I want to add a new button without text component, because I basically just want an icon here to not take up too much space. Just an icon. And when you click it, it stays activated, and it basically enables the interaction mode with the node. So right now, when you double click a node, you enter into interaction mode, and that will allow you to scroll and interact with it, etc. We'll just hit that off in plan mode. And I actually think for this simple feature, we don't even need to create a full planning doc. Usually my process is I will plan it here inside of Claude Code, create a planning doc so that like the actual plan and implementation is saved somewhere, not just inside of Claude Code. And once I've created this doc, then I will either use the same instance of Claude to like go through this doc to implement it, or I will just use a new instance, or sometimes even I'll also use the Komposo 1 model because it's super fast to go and implement it. But usually to create the plan, I always use Claude. Okay, now Claude is just asking me a few clarifying questions. Which icon would you prefer? Yeah, cursor pointer icon is good. Where should the button be positioned? After the preview? Yes, after the preview button. And that's it. Okay, plan is done. It says files to modify the node toolbar. Yes, sounds good. And then also the web app node, which is where the iframe lives inside of. Button styling, that's all fine. And as I said, normally instead of just accepting the plan here and starting with the implementation, I will tell it to write the doc out first, so that it's easier to reference it later. But for such a small feature, I'll just go ahead and auto accept the edits. Before that, I'll just switch into a new branch. Okay, and now we can start the implementation. Okay, implementation complete. Node toolbar changes, web app node changes. Okay, let's just go and test it out. Need to run it first. Open up localhost. I'll open up the same project I had opened here in production. Okay, and now if I click it, we should see it. Perfect. So we see this button here, interact with content. Let's click it. There we go. It works. The cursor changes into this hand icon though. I'm not sure I like that. And what happens when I click outside? Yeah, it's deactivated. So that's perfect behavior. That's actually an example of something where I'm not sure if Sonnet or another model would have implemented that. If you click outside, it deactivates it. I feel like this is something that Opus has done nicely, thought about the edge cases here and implemented that for us. Of course, I can't know for sure, but that's my guess. Oh yeah, and the double click works as well, so it activates us there. That's perfect. I think the only thing I'll add in the tooltip text here is that you can also double click. So let's just add that quickly. Okay, works well. Just add into the tooltip text that you can also double click the screen, put it in brackets. Okay, let's find this text. Sometimes it's easier to just do it yourself, especially if it's just changing some text. Or double click the screen. Okay, did this work? Yep, good. Okay, perfect. That's this feature. So let's commit this. Action mode working. Now we can push this branch. Okay, then let's implement the next feature. This was super easy. The other thing I want to implement is that sometimes it can be useful to just duplicate this node. So we have the node here, and maybe I just want to duplicate it from these actions here. There can just be like an extra duplicate button. And then it just creates a copy of it. And that's why I put this as the medium difficulty. We will need to interact with the database for that because we want the node data actually to also be duplicated. But of course, things like the node ID would need to be created and the title should not be exactly the same. So a couple of edge cases that you need to watch out for. But I think it should also be relatively easy for Opus 4.5 to do this. Let's do that. Let me just clear, and then we can implement the next feature. Okay, so I want to implement a duplicate node functionality inside of, again, node toolbar. We'll tag it. It's always good to tag the component if you know where the things are happening, just to give the AI the context, and then it knows where to look for stuff when it's doing this research phase. Inside of node toolbar, in the action dropdown, I want you to add a new button that says duplicate. And when that is clicked, we should create a duplicate node right next to that node. It should also be duplicated in the database with exactly the same data, but just the necessary stuff. So not prompt history or versions. It should always duplicate the version that the user is currently viewing. And with versions, what I mean is when you make an edit, you get multiple versions and they all layer on top of each other. And then you can cycle through them. These are the versions, and these are saved separately in separate instances, basically. And I want to define the logic that if you click duplicate, it basically only duplicates the one that you're currently viewing. That makes the most sense from a user perspective, right? Yeah. And then I'll add, since we're interacting with the database and I don't have the Supabase MCP or something installed, I just want to be careful, but it will not always know the database schema and so on perfectly. So sometimes I just have to I just want to tell it to ask me before implementing anything. Ask me for the database schema if you need it. And then we'll switch back into plan mode again and let it cook. Okay, it's again asking me for these clarifying questions. Where should duplicate node be positioned? Right side? Yeah, right side is fine. Should the duplicate node have a modified title to interface? Yeah, sure, add copy. Where should the duplicate node be oh, okay, submit answers. Okay, here's the plan it came up with. Add a duplicate node, add a duplicate button to the node toolbar settings. Sounds good. Requirements, position duplicate to the right, yes. Add copy suffix to the title. Save duplicate to a database with same HTML data, but new unique ID, no prompt history, no versions history, current HTML content only, yeah. Okay, and then that's the implementation plan. And it seems like an easier one, but I will still just like, I can probably just accept it and go with it, but to be safe, I will just create the planning doc. In case we, run out of context or something like that, it's just always safer to do. Write the plan into to do first. Okay, now we have the plan here. Duplicate node, feature implementation, let's just double check. Yeah, just basically put everything that was on the screen, just copied it here. And now we can go ahead and implement it. Okay, it worked about 5 minutes, and now it says the duplicate node feature is implemented. Here's a summary. It made changes to these 3 files. So we can also go here in the Git view and see what changes exactly it made to the files. So sometimes I'll do that to just double check it didn't go like totally off and did something totally weird. But here it looks fine, only did minor changes in these files. And it says how it works. User clicks duplicate, the handle duplicate node handler is called. The function finds a source node, calculates position to the right, creates a new node with new UUID, okay. Title with copy and suffix, save HTML content, same mode and styling, yes. And then current prompt for prompt history, okay. First state, okay, let's test it. So to test this, I'll just go into a new project and I'll create a new node here, food delivery app. And just do a mobile node, mobile app screen. And the reason why I'm creating a new one is just so that I can go and find it in the database. So let's see if we can find it in the database now. There we go. Okay, here it is, food delivery app. This is the node that we want to duplicate. And now let's test what happens when we duplicate it. And we hit duplicate. Okay, new one is created here instantly. That's very good. Let's check in the database what happened. Very good, screen 1 copy. And yeah, same user ID. And the HTML should also be exactly the same. Looks pretty good. It has an ID, which is now a new one. That's good too. Okay, let's just do some checks on this. Can I edit it? Make it light mode. Everything else should stay the same with this duplicate node, obviously. And also, let's see what happens if I duplicate another one. Good, we get another one. It has the same title, but I think that's fine. Okay, the edit here also works. It also saved the prompt history. It looks like everything is working. And yeah, again, Claude did a really good job here. I think we can commit this and we can say duplicate node feature implemented. Commit this, push this, and then I think we can merge this branch, and then we'll do one more feature which is a little bit harder, and we'll see how well Claude performs on that one. So let's clear this. We'll just reset it here. And I had actually yesterday already created a planning doc for this new feature, and it's called Edit Node Streaming. So what I did yesterday is you can see now if you generate a node, food app, and we'll just leave it on design normal mode right now just to make it faster, and we'll switch into mobile app. You can see here now we didn't have this before yesterday, this streaming UI. So like everything is appearing on screen. Before that, what we had was, it was just this node and there was just like this loading spinner in the middle. And then once it finished getting all of the information, it just displayed it on the screen. So I implemented the streaming yesterday for the normal generation, but it's still missing in the edit route. So we're actually using a different route when the screen is being edited. So for example, here I'll say make it dark mode. And when I click to apply change now, you'll see this is the old UI with the whole screen turns blank and there's this generating which takes up all of the space. What I want to do is basically turn this edit route also into the streaming mode. And this is what this plan is about. Add a real-time streaming preview to the edit node, similar to how Clone UI streaming works. Okay, it's like some implementation details here. And then it's like there's a distinction in the edit types because we have global selection and section edit. So global basically takes the whole thing, and section just lets you pick one section and only that section is edited, and everything else should stay the same. So the code for the other part stays exactly the same. It should only swap out the code in here. For streaming, that essentially means it should only stream this part inside of here, right? Okay. And yeah, here's the implementation. Again, same process. I just had Claude essentially quickly do this research of how it works and what should be implemented. So we've done this part already. Now I can just go in and start implementing this. Okay, start with the implementation of edit node streaming. Okay. Okay, implementation is complete. Let's test it out. Run dev. Okay, we have our nodes. Now let's make an edit to it. We'll start with the global selection, and we can just make it, make the colors orange instead of green, the highlight color. Okay. I sent it off. It does do this generating, but it does this weird flicker, which is not ideal. Okay, and now it changes it into orange. So now the stream, after the stream has started, everything's great, but the initial part was not that great. You probably saw, like, once I clicked the button, it kind of flickered for a bit and it wasn't very smooth. Let's try it again. Make it dark mode. I'm gonna press the button now. It's like doing something weird in the beginning, which is not great. But then the streaming part, it does well. Okay, once that's complete, we'll also test the section edit. Okay, now let's test the section edit. And so, okay, just do a simple one. Let's do here, remove the search bar. Again, it does this flicker. Okay, and then it just removes it. Let's make a more difficult edit. Something like make this into a 4-card layout. It's streaming. Okay, well, overall, I'd say it did a pretty good job. So it implemented the feature as we wanted with the streaming and so on. but it just didn't implement it perfectly as with the previous two features. Like if it did it perfectly, it wouldn't have these issues in the beginning where it does this little flicker. So it would have thought about doing that. And this just basically means we need to do a couple more iterations to fix that and basically tell it what's wrong and what it needs to do, and then it'll get it right. But it was just interesting to see at what level of difficulty of the task the model starts reaching a bit of its limits, right? So yeah, I won't go into actually fixing this part in this video. I hope you seeing this process was useful and kind of also seeing where we start to hit a bit of the limits of the model. If you want to try out Komposo, go to komposo.ai, and otherwise, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.